What's up, guys? This is Josh, one of your Linode developer advocates, and welcome back to another video. And today I wanted to show you guys how easy it is to set up a Kimai server on Linode. So follow along with this video and I'll have you up and running in no time. So before we get started, I want to cover what exactly Kimai is. Kimai is a free and open source time tracking application designed for small businesses and freelancers. It basically tracks work time and you're able to print out summaries of the activities on demand. And it's super cool because you can look at things yearly, monthly, daily, by customer and by project. It's basically a database and it allows you to query all that information, that time information, as it's entered into the system. And you could do other cool things like create invoices, from particular time sheets that you enter in. And you can also track your working hours. So it's a super cool application. And I wanted to show you guys how to set this thing up on Linode. But before we do that, one of the first things you need to do is set up a Linode account, which is very easy to set up. If you don't have an account, you can check down in the description of this video for the link to get you started. The sign up is super simple, it's free, and you will also receive a $100 credit for the first 60 days after the account is created. So let's head over to Linode so I can show you guys how to actually set up this Kimai server. Okay, so once you have your Linode account set up, this is the main dashboard that you'll be greeted with after logging into your account. And the first step in this process of setting up your Kimai server is by creating a Linode. And one of the super cool features of Linode is they have what they call the marketplace, which I won't be able to use it for this demonstration, but I just at least wanted to show it to you guys. But if you click on marketplace on the left hand side, they have a whole bunch of pre-configured servers that you can just click and fill out all the information that you need to, and it will have everything you need based on the requirements that you're looking for. Now basically what I need is a web server, and they do have web server setups, but I want to go down and create a custom one. But they do have the lamp stack and then the limp stack. So I'm gonna create my own custom server. So I'm gonna go back up here to the top, click on distributions, and you can select whatever you want from there. And what I want to do is use Ubuntu. So let's scroll down and find Ubuntu 20.04 LTS. I'm gonna click on that, and this is what I want to create my Linode on. And we can walk through the process of setting it up. You have to select your region. So I'm in California, so I'm gonna select Fremont, California, or actually I'm on the West Coast, but California is the closest region to me, so I'm gonna use Fremont, California. And then after that, here is the Linode plans that you want to go through and set up or select. And basically it's all dependent on your needs, and this is basically the hardware setup. So you can get a dedicated CPU. They have different prices down here, and it's all dependent on the hardware, like I stated. But I'm gonna use a shared CPU, which is the cheapest because you're basically sharing that hardware with other users on the platform. And I'll go with the cheapest version, which is the Linode. You can use a Linode 2 gig, 4 gig, 8 gig. It's all dependent on your needs, like I stated. But I'm gonna just use the Linode because that's all the hardware that I actually need for this demonstration, because I'm gonna delete this Linode after this. But I wanted to walk you through the process and at least show you all the options that you have. So if we go down here a little further, it says Linode label, but this is actually the name of your server. This will show up in your list of Linodes once you have the server set up and everything. So what I'm gonna do is back Ubuntu off of here, and I'm gonna type Kimai on there, and Kimai is spelled K-I-M-A-I, and that is the label I'm gonna use. And I'm gonna just leave US West on there. That's fine. It doesn't matter. And then you can add tags, and this is just a way to separate out all your different Linodes that you have on your account. Now, if we scroll down a little further, here is the root password. You want to go down and type in a strong password for your root account. And then also you can set up SSH keys if you need to. And then you also have some other options like setting up VLANs, and then they have backups for a little bit more money a month. So $2 per month, they do backups for you. And then also you can request a private IP address if you need to. And that's only if you need it. I'm not going to select it. I don't need it. So let's go down and hit create Linode, and this will create our server. It'll go through the provisioning process. And I'm going to close that because I don't want it to save that. But it's going to go through the provisioning process and set up the server based on the requirements that we specify. And then just to walk through a little bit, it gives you a summary of what all you have. So like I said, I selected the Linode. It comes with 1 CPU core, and this is shared, and then 1 gigabit of RAM, and then 25 gigabits of storage for it. And then here's my IP address. So this is my public IP address, and then this is the version 6 IP address, and then this is how you access the server. You can access it these two different ways right here, and this is from your own personal terminal. But they also have the LISH console. So you can click on that, and that'll open up a console, and you can actually manage the server directly from there. As you can see, it's already running. It only took a couple seconds to actually provision the server and get it set up and running. And so you have Ubuntu running on this server. And like I was saying right here, the access right here, it basically gives you the command to connect to it. And all it's doing is putting together your root account and then the IP address, you know, the normal SSH connection that you type in into your terminal. And you can quickly copy that and connect to your server using SSH from your terminal. Okay, so now that we have the Linode up and running, let's go down and connect to it. And what I'm going to do is connect to it via SSH from my terminal on my laptop. Okay, so I have my terminal up. Let's go down and SSH into the server right fast. And it's some certain things that I typically do on a new server when I set it up. So let's log into it first, and what I want to do is actually create a new account. I always try to create a sudo account or a regular user account, because I don't like using the root account for everything. So let's go down and do that first. But what that was basically doing was adding the fingerprint to my local computer. So the next time I log into the server, you know, it'll verify that it is the correct server that I'm logging into. So let's log into the root account right fast. And as you can see, we're good to go. I'm gonna go down and clear this, but I'm gonna quickly add a new user, and I'm gonna use the add user command and just type in a user account that we want to create. And as you can see, it asks for your password. So you want to type in your password for your account, retype it, boom, and then it'll go through, you know, the process of gathering information. I'm not going to put anything in there. I'm gonna just put enter, push enter, and that'll, you know, put the defaults there. So, and then press Y, you know, for yes. Boom, we're good to go. And now let's go down and add this user to the sudo group, which is very simple. So all we have to do is type user mod and then dash lowercase a capital G, and then we want to add it to the sudo account, and then we want to add that user account Josh. So let's press enter, we're good to go. Now let's test this account right fast. So we can type su dash Josh and press enter, and it'll log us into Josh right fast. So I'm gonna just run these like a simple sudo command. Let's run sudo apt updates, and let's update the system right fast just to verify that our sudo account actually works, or our account actually has sudo privileges. And as you can see, that was very simple to do, doesn't take too long, but it'll refresh the repositories right fast. And then also we can run these updates right fast just to make sure we have a fully updated system. And as you can see, it was just one package, so we're gonna run through that update right fast. And actually what I want to do is log out of it, and then I want to exit out of the server, and then now let's connect with that Josh account. And basically all I did was paste that same SSH command, but I'm gonna type Josh, and it should have Josh, or it should have privileges to SSH. Yeah, and we're good to go. So we logged into the system as Josh. So let's clear the screen right fast and go ahead on and start the install of Kimai. Now, like I stated earlier, Kimai has to be installed on a web server. So it's a couple packages we need to install just to get it going right fast. And like I said, I want a LIMP server. So that's Linux, NGINX, MySQL, and PHP. So I already have all these packages in a text file. So I could paste them in right fast, just so I don't make the video too long. But sudo app install nginx, and then it's also going to install mysql-server, and then it's going to install php-fpm, php-mysql. That's a dependency that helps PHP work with the MySQL server, and then git, unzip, and curl. So let's press enter. That'll install those packages for us. Type in our sudo password, and then we can go through and install these packages. And it doesn't take that long on these Linode servers. They're very fast. It connects to the repositories very quickly, downloads the packages, and then go through the install. It's a very quick process. So once it's finished, we'll move on to the next step. Okay, cool. So the install is complete for that. And let's just check the status of our NGINX server. So we can type sudo systemctl, and then let's type status, and then nginx, tab it out and press enter. And as you can see, it's enabled. That lets you know it's enabled right there, and it's active and running. So we're good to go. I'm gonna press Q to quit, but that lets you know NGINX was installed properly. And then also let's check MySQL. Let's press the up arrow. That'll bring up the command we just ran, and just type mysql.service and press enter. And as you can see, it's enabled and running, active and running on the system. So we installed MySQL, properly. So we're good to go and move forward with the installation. Now next, with PHP, there are some dependencies I want to install right fast, and I'll just run through and install those right fast. And any of these commands that I'm running will be in the description of the video, so you can quickly follow along with me, so I'm not having to read out all these packages for you. But these are all PHP dependencies, and I also may have the other packages that I already ran, but it doesn't matter if I run them again, like php-fpm and php-mysql. It doesn't matter if it's there again. I'm gonna just run it. I just had these packages pre-typed out so I could quickly install it for you guys. But just press Y for yes, and it will install all those dependencies for us. Make sure everything is on the server that we need in order to get Kimai up and running. Now let's just go on and verify PHP right fast. We could just type sudo systemctl, and then status again, and then PHP, and I'm gonna tab it out. It should pop up, yeah, 7.4. So boom, press enter. There we go. And as you can see, it's enabled right here. So that means whenever you restart the server, it will start PHP, and it's the same for MySQL and NGINX. Whenever it says enabled, it will start up on boot, and then also is active and running. So let's press Q for quits and move on to the next step. And the next thing you want to do is set up your MySQL database. And one of the things you really want to do is secure it. So I'm going to run through that process as well. So all we have to do is type sudo and then MySQL, and then it's this built-in script for MySQL that allows you to secure the server. And I'm gonna just type it out, port of it, and tab it out, and then it should come up. So sudo MySQL_secure_installation. So if we press enter, it's a couple options you want to run through right here. I already have a root account set up, so I'm gonna just type no there. And one thing this is asking you if you want to turn on a component that improves security, and this is basically a validation of passwords that are created on the system. I don't want to turn that on because it's going to make things a little bit more confusing, being that I'm going to delete this account after here and after this. And then also it says please set the password for the root account here, and I forgot I didn't set up the password for the root account for the MySQL root account, so I need to go down and type in a password for that. and press enter, and we're good to go. And let's run through these steps right here. Is basically removing anonymous accounts. So you want to hit Y for yes, you want to remove that. Disallow root login remotely, put Y and then enter. Remove test database, that's fine, Y, enter. And then reload privilege tables now, and press Y and enter, and you're good to go. And these are just some standard things that you want to do on your MySQL server that will secure it a little better. It won't secure it 100% because there is some more things you could do to secure it a little better, but this will get the base out the way for you. Now that that's done, let's go down and log into the SQL Server and configure it for Kimai. And all we have to do is type sudo mysql and then -u, and then we want to specify the root account, which is what we want to log in, and then -p for the password, and that's basically telling MySQL to ask me for my password. So let's press enter, type in our root account password, boom, and now we're logged into MySQL. And I'm gonna run through these queries just so I don't take too long, but basically this is creating the database right here, and I'm naming the database Kimai _DB. So let's press enter. That'll create that database for us. And then now you want to create a user, and basically what I named it was user Kimai. So let's put that in there, but this is the command to actually do it, is create user Kimai at localhost identified by the password. So let's press enter there, good to go. And now let's grant the privileges to that database, because all we did was create the account and create the database, but now we need to grant the permissions for user Kimai to that database. So that's the query to run that, and we're good to go. So now we can flush the privileges, and this is basically just to verify that the database that manages all the user accounts is refreshed with the latest data. And then now we can exit out of MySQL. So we have MySQL 100% set up for Kimai. And one thing about it, you want to make sure you write down the password, or make sure you have that password somewhere, because you're going to need it during the installation of Kimai. You're also going to need the database name. So remember that, document that, as well as the user account that we created. You need all of that to actually finish the install. Okay, cool. So the next thing we want to do is install Composer, and I'm gonna run through this process. We can install everything here, but I'm gonna just run through the commands. But this is basically a curl command downloading the Composer installer for us. Boom, good to go. And this right here is actually installing it right here. So sudo php composer setup.php, and you'll see it go through the process of downloading and setting up Composer on the system. Okay, cool. So it kind of failed right in there, but it retried and finally got it. Maybe it was a glitch in connecting to the server where Composer is stored, but we're good to go there now. So let's run another command. This is PHP command, so we can run it right fast. And this is basically just the setup, so it'll go through this process as well. All right, cool. So that's completed successfully. It didn't take too long. But let's run one more command, and then we should be done with setting up Composer. But this is basically unlinking a file, so we're good to go there. And then now let's change the composer.phar as executable. So we have to run chmod, make that executable. And since it's in my home directory, we don't have to type sudo, just so you guys know, but we have to type sudo in order to move that composer.phar to the user bin composer directory. So let's type that in right fast and press enter, and we're good to go. So we have it over there. Composer is successfully installed on the system. Now we can go through and install Kimai. And the way you do that, first thing you want to do is actually get over to your NGINX directory, or your web servers directory where it serves out files, which is located under var www, and www, boom, press enter. And now let's clone the latest version of Kimai, and I'm gonna just use the sudo git clone That way we can clone it to that directory, because that directory is currently owned by the root account, I believe. But we'll fix that a little later in the process. But let's press enter, and that'll clone down all the files for us. And now we're good to go. Now let's cd to the Kimai directory right fast so we can make a couple changes to it, as well as install it using Composer, because that's the whole purpose of us installing Composer on the system, is so we can install Kimai in that directory. So let's type KI-MAI2. That's the directory where all the files are stored. And so we're in that directory. Now let's go through the install process. And it's a very simple command: sudo composer install. And I'm gonna just paste it in there. But that's how you actually install it right there. Boom. And we're gonna run through this. It's gonna download all the packages that it needs and install everything in that location. Boom. And as you can see right there, it ran the script fine. You know, there was like a little warning right in here, but everything seemed to install properly. I don't see any errors or anything right there, so we're good to go. Now let's go in and configure it a little bit, and we have to, this is where the database information that we had is needed. So let's type sudo nano, and then there's an environment file in there. So it's evn.evn. It's a hidden file. That's why it has the dot in front of it. And actually I typed it in wrong. env, and press enter. And that'll get us in this file where we can add the database information. So let's log into it. And if you look right here on the first line that's uncommented out, it says database. So URL MySQL. All you have to do is change the user name and the password. Now I know what the password is. It's capital P and then a 1 on the end of it, but we also need to change that user account up there, and it's simply user and then Kimai. Boom. And make sure you type it in right, which I didn't. I put an L in there, but Kimai. So user Kimai, and then you specify the password, which is that password that we put in there. I had capital P on password and then 1 at the end of it. And then right here where it says database, this is where you will actually want to put that database. So all we have to do is type Kimai _DB. That's what I named my database. You just put whatever you name the database in right there, and you get to go. So we're done with this actual file. We don't have to make any more changes to the system. So let's press Control X and then Y for yes to save those changes. Press enter, and we're good to go. We saved those changes. We put the database information in that file. Now we can actually finish the install of Kimai. So we want to stay in that same location on the server, but let's run the console right fast. So I'm gonna paste it in there right there. It's basically bin console and then commie install Kimai :install -n, press enter. That'll go through and finish. And what this is basically doing is creating all the tables in the database. As you can see, it didn't take that long to actually do it. As you can see, it kind of went through everything right there. But the only problem I'm seeing right here says failed to clear cache, unable to write in the void www Kimai cache prod directory. So don't worry about that. You may see that, you may not see that, but you should be good to go. As long as you see the congratulations, successful install of Kimai version 1.14.1, you get to go. So you don't have to do anything else after that or for that error that popped up here. So just ignore it and keep moving forward. And the next thing you want to do is actually create an admin account for the server or for the Kimai server right fast. And this is just so you can basically manage the server, create user accounts and all that stuff. And I'm gonna use some default information. You want to kind of specify really some true information, like for instance the email address. I have admin@example.com, but this is the account that is actually creating the admin account, and then I just gave it some random email address for it, and then I wanted to give it the role of super admin. So if we press enter, this will ask us for our password for our account that we are creating, and you want to make sure you remember what you named that, as well as the password. As soon as you do that, you're good to go. Now, there are some permission changes that you need to make to certain folders in this directory. So you want to stay in this same directory, void www Kimai, but I'm gonna just paste them in there just to make it super quick. But sudo chown, you want to change the ownership to www-data as the group right there, and then we can do a chmod on all the files in here, and this will, make some changes to it all the way down. And it's using recursive, so that'll go through and change all those permissions throughout all the directories within the directory that you're specifying. So you're good to go. And then also right here, we need to change some more permissions as well. So, and like I stated, I'm gonna have all these commands down in the description of the video if I can. And we're good to go right there. So that's all the permissions we need to change for the server. Now, the last step is actually setting up NGINX. So let's cd from this directory. We don't need to be in the void www directory anymore. All of our next commands are going to be for NGINX. I keep saying NGINX, but NGINX. So we can type sudo nano, and I want to make these changes under etc, or I want to create this file under etc NGINX and then sites available. And this is basically setting up a virtual host. So I'm gonna show you guys how to actually do that right now. So sites, and I did spell that right, but sites available, tab it out, and then I want to name it Kimai 2 and press enter, and that'll create that file for us. And I already had a configuration for the site, so I'm gonna just paste it in there like I've been doing with all the other commands. But it's a very simple config. I'll kind of explain it to you guys so you guys can see exactly what I'm pasting in there. Boom, and let's paste it in there. Good to go. So if we look through here, I'll kind of show you right fast. It's basically listening on port 80. This is the server name, so kimai.local. This is the location of the actual directory or the files for the website. So that's the location, and then it's just some more information down in here. If you want to learn about setting up virtual host in NGINX, there's plenty of documentation out there on setting it up, but I just wanted to kind of make the video a little bit quicker. But we're going to save that configuration, but that's good to go for our site. And now the next thing you want to do is unlink the default site, because right now the NGINX site default site is up there. We want to disable that, so all we have to do is unlink it from in the sites available directory. So let's press enter. That'll unlink that site so it won't show up. And now let's link the Kimai site, and basically what I'm using is the ln command -s, and that'll link that file from sites available to sites enable, which is where it's supposed to be in order for the site to actually work, the virtual host. So let's press enter. Good to go. Now let's go on and test the configuration just to make sure we don't have any syntax errors in there. It's basically gonna reload that configuration file for it, and as you can see, it says syntax okay, but we have to type in our password in order to restart the server service. So we're good to go. So, and it asks you to authenticate, which is fine. That's something that's built into NGINX to prevent anyone else from making changes. Now that's pretty much it for your server, but since this is a public server, if you're setting this up for a enterprise environment for people to actually connect to it and put in timesheets and all that stuff, you kind of want this site secure so people can't sniff the web and find out information about your server. So what you want to do is install a SSL cert on your web server, and it's a very simple process. I'm not going to do it because that'll require a little bit more work. And like I said, I didn't want to make this video like super long, so I'm not going to go through that process, but you can quickly look up how to do Let's Encrypt, which will install your SSL cert, and then it'll keep it up and running for you. And then also it'll make changes to your NGINX site configuration, and it should work. It'll rewrite all your changes, so it'll redirect everything to a HTTPS connection. But let's go down and test out the server right fast. We can go to the IP address. Let me switch over to my browser again, and this is our dashboard. And what I want to do is grab the IP address, and let's go down and type it in the browser, and we should be good to go on logging into Kimai. Now let's log into that admin account and use our admin password that we created from the command line, and we should be good to go. And I'm not going to save that, but this is the time tracking software, so I'm not going to show you how to actually use it. I just wanted to go through and show you guys how it actually works. But if you click right here on the dashboard, it has a lot of information just at a quick glance or whatever. And right now it only has one user, no customers, no projects, no activities, and really no information in here. But you can go through and start creating your user accounts, your customers, your projects. You could do everything from here. And like I said, right here is the user accounts, roles, teams. It also has a whole bunch of plugins for this actual application. And as you can see, this is running on my Linode, my Nano Linode. So we have this thing fully set up, using Linode cloud platform, which is super cool. I really like Linode, and I really recommend Linode. I think they have an excellent platform to actually run your cloud applications. And this is a perfect example, just showing you guys how you can quickly set something up on Linode and get it up and running. Now, I really enjoyed this collab. I look forward to working with Linode in the future, but this is a great platform and I want you guys to really check it out. And this video is to quickly show you guys that you can set up whatever you want on the Linode cloud platform. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys got something out of it. And if you have any questions, leave comments down in the comment boxes below. And also like the video. I definitely appreciate all the likes over here at Linode and the support that you guys give to the platform. But I hope you guys have a good day and peace.